what purpose does the gentleman from Pennsylvania rise?
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the rules and pass the resolution, House Resolution 1038.
Clerk will report the title of the resolution.
House Resolution 1038, resolution recognizing the 5th anniversary of the Department of Homeland Security and honoring the department's employees for their extraordinary efforts and contributions to protect and secure our nation.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Carney, and the gentlewoman from Michigan, Ms. Miller, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days within which to revise and extend their remarks on this resolution.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself as much time as I might consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
We're here today to recognize the 5th anniversary of the Department of Homeland Security. This is an opportunity for us to praise the tireless employees who, day in and day out, are working hard to prevent another terrorist attack on our soil, in our skies, and on our waters, and to also ensure that we're prepared should a catastrophe strike again. Congress is often critical of DHS, and we've had some harsh hearings in the Homeland Security Committee, but our criticism of the management at DHS is only because we hope to ensure the department's employees have the resources they need to do their jobs and to keep America safe. The department is still in its formative years and still experiencing expected growing pains. When DHS was established, it was the largest reorganization of the federal government since the creation of the Department of Defense 60 years ago, with 180 employees and 180,000 employees and 22 agencies merged to form one new department. And that number has grown to nearly 30,000 since then. Let's take a moment to honor DHS in its 5-year anniversary, but also to recognize these employees for their dedicated service. To the Customs and Border Patrol officers and the Border Patrol agents protecting our borders at our ports of entry and in between, and to our immigrations and customs enforcement agents ensuring that criminal aliens are accounted for and removed, and to our transportation security officers protecting millions of passengers daily and quickly adapting to threats to prevent future hijackings or worse, and to our federal air marshals quietly protecting our skies, and to our Secret Service, called upon earlier than ever to protect presidential candidates, and to the men and women of the Coast Guard, protecting 360 ports and over 90,000 miles of coastline, ready to respond at a moment's notice, and to the first responders of FEMA, who have again proven themselves in their response to the California wildfires and the recent Midwest tornadoes. Thank you. We know all too well the long hours you've committed to our country and the time away from your homes and families. We sincerely appreciate all of your work and your service. Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Michigan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll yield myself as much time as I might consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
And I rise today to fully support this resolution, which speaks to this Congress appropriately recognizing and honoring the brave Americans, the great patriots who work to protect us all through their service at the Department of Homeland Security. And I believe that the first and foremost responsibility of the federal government is to provide for the national defense. That is actually in the preamble of our Constitution. Additionally, for all of us who have the honor to serve in this House, protecting our homeland and securing our borders against those who would harm us is something that we all take an oath to do. Before those horrific attacks on our nation on 9/11, we thought about national defense more in terms of having a strong military, the best trained, the best resourced, facing down enemies overseas, in conflicts where we had a national interest, in spots around the world. We didn't usually think in terms of actually being attacked or continuing to be threatened with attacks on American soil here in our homeland. 9/11 changed all of our lives, as on that day, cowardly terrorists murdered nearly 3,000 of our fellow Americans, innocent people who were just going about their daily lives, and the terrorists used the tools of our own freedoms against us. And why? Because they hate us, and they especially hate our freedoms. They sought to weaken us, to destroy us, and instead they united us. They awoke us, and instead made us begin to take the necessary steps to protect ourselves from future attacks. We knew we had to change the way we practice security measures at our airports, on our railways, on our roadways, at our ports, at our border crossings. We knew we had to secure our infrastructure, that we had to better prepare our first responders and local emergency management agencies, that we had to share intelligence, that we had to tear down silo mentalities and do a much better job of sharing intelligence and resources. We also knew we had to create an agency here at the federal level and task them with implementing this seemingly impossible job. And so the Department of Homeland Security was created 5 years ago. And what a remarkable success story it has been. The brave men and women of the 22 agencies, more than 213,000 individuals that make up the department, deserve our respect and they deserve our gratitude. We have not had another successful attack on our shores since that day, in no small part due to the vigilance and the hard work of the Department of Homeland Security and their efforts to provide for our common defense against America's enemies, against the enemies of freedom, those who are truly cowards, who hide in the shadows and who prey on the innocent. Mr. Speaker, as Congress recognizes and pays tributes to the Department of Homeland Security for the dedication and the commitment they have made to our Homeland Security during the past 5 years that they have been in existence, we also look forward to standing shoulder to shoulder with them as we look towards the future. We understand that we need to do more to clearly define the lines of congressional committee jurisdiction, to streamline, to make more effective and cost-efficient many of the department's missions. We recognize that the largest room is always a room for improvement, and that the department is looking to Congress to continue to assist them and not to hobble them. Mr. Speaker, I'm a new member of the Committee on Homeland Security, and I'm proud to represent my district in Michigan, a border state with many unique dynamics, such as the first and second busiest international border crossings on the northern tier and the busiest rail entry actually in the country, the magnificent Great Lakes, fully 1/5 of the freshwater supply of the entire planet, a long liquid border that we share with our wonderful neighbors, the Canadians. These are issues and items that require the attention of the Department of Homeland Security, and yet, Mr. Speaker, every member of this House tell us of particular dynamics in their district or their state or their region of the country that also require the attention of the department. Identifying and dealing with the threats to our homeland are done each and every day, 24/7, by the remarkable men and women of the Department of Homeland Security. And it is certainly appropriate that we honor those who serve us so well, that we thank them for their vigilance, we salute them for their dedication, we appreciate their commitment to democracy and liberty and freedom. I urge my colleagues to pass the resolution before us and formally thank the great Americans who make up the Department of Homeland Security for keeping our nation safe. I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman reserves. The gentleman from Pennsylvania.
Mr. Speaker, I continue to reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Michigan.
Mr. Speaker, at this time it's my great honor to recognize for as much time as he may consume to the distinguished ranking member of the Committee on Homeland Security, the gentleman from New York, Mr. King.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the gentlelady for yielding. I thank Chairman Carney for helping to bring this matter to the House floor today. And I rise in strong support of HRES 1038 because we do owe a tremendous debt of gratitude and thanks to all of the employees of the Department of Homeland Security. Mr. Speaker, I come from adjoining districts in New York. Probably between our districts we lost well over 200 people on September 11th. And I think any of us on September 12th or September 13th anticipated there would have to be an attack, another successful attack on our country in the not-too-distant future. Well, the fact is we have now gone 6.5 years without an attack. During 5 of those years, the Department of Homeland Security has been up and operational. And it was really a tribute to the men and women who comprise the formerly separate 22 agencies who came together to be combined into this one department for what they've been able to do, for what they've been able to achieve. Accident, it's not luck, we haven't been attacked. It's for a number of reasons, but among the very prime reasons is the tremendous effort by all of these men and women. And in doing that, it was not easy, because they each came from different cultures and traditions. They had different types of training, different types of emphasis. They had a tough enough job before September 11th, but now added to that was the new dimension of Homeland Security. And they had to do what they were doing at a different level, and they had to combine their efforts with employees from other agencies who were trained differently, who had different ways of looking at things, and they had to learn to speak and think as one. And they've done it. They've done a terrific job. I believe it was last year we held hearings on how far the department has come. And yes, it's easy